you are getting a Betta, or maybe you have your Betta already, and you're not exactly sure how you should go about adding him to your tank. I totally understand because I felt the same way. A lot of people think you can just add them right away from the cup right into the tank. And while you can do this, and while many of us did do it, I know that I did it when I was little, there can actually be downsides to doing this. And today I will be teaching you the safer way to acclimate your Betta to his new environment to reduce stress for both you and your Betta. First things first, your Betta may be in a bag, it may be in a cup, whatever your Betta fish is in, make sure that you go ahead and float it in your tank. If it is in a cup, you should be able to float it as long as the lid is on to keep it from tipping. It should float all right. If it is in a bag, I recommend cutting the bag open and folding one side over. Make sure the bag is left open so your Betta can get some air. But fold that bag over your tank and clip it. That way it doesn't float, it doesn't dump into the tank, and it just kind of sits there. The whole reason you want to have the container your Betta is in resting in your tank water is so that the temperatures will match up. So that when you introduce your Betta into his new home, he won't get temperature shock. I recommend floating your Betta for about 5 to 10 minutes. It shouldn't take very long for that small amount of water to match up temperature-wise. And then after you have done this, take about 30 minutes or so to pour a little bit of water at a time from your cycle tank into your Betta's container. If you need to make room for more water, you can take out some water from his container. You can pour it out into a sink or remove it with a small cup. Essentially, this is going to allow your Betta to also gradually adjust to the tank water's perimeters as well as the temperature. By doing this, he also won't get shocked. The pH may be different, there may be more nitrites, there may be more nitrates, the softness of the water may be different. So there are a bunch of different perimeters to take into consideration. So to prevent shock from temperature and a change in perimeter, take about 30 minutes to add a little water at a time from your Betta's tank into the container that he is in. After you feel like there's been a decent amount of tank water introduced into his cup and you feel like he has adjusted to it well, then go ahead and pour out all the water that you can from his cup into the sink. Now there are two ways that you can do this. You can either take the cup and put your hand over it while allowing the water to pour out so that your Betta doesn't jump out with the water, or you can pour him out into a net. I have found that the first option was less stressful because typically your Betta is already a little bit stressed at this point, and I feel like just pouring him into a net and then trying to rush him over to the tank is a little more stressful than just pouring out as much water as you can and then pouring out the rest with him into the tank. You can also just slowly lower the cup into the tank and allow him to swim out. When I first got my Betta Alexander, he came in a bag because I did have him mailed to me. Like I mentioned before, I cut the bag open so that he could get some fresh air, and then I chip clipped his bag to the edge of his tank so that he wouldn't float away. After he had been acclimated, I took it over to the sink. I pinched the bag as much as I could just to allow water out but keep him from swimming out. And then as soon as I got as much out as I could without totally leaving him without water, I just poured him into his tank. You may notice that your Betta's colors are a little bit faded, or he may be breathing a little bit faster, and that probably is because he is a little bit stressed. Obviously, he is going to have to get used to his new environment, but by taking the time to go through this acclimation process, you will greatly reduce that stress and keep your Betta from being overly stressed and potentially even making him susceptible to health issues. Alright friend, I hope this video helped you. If you have any more questions, stick those in the comments. Don't forget to check the description. I have a free guide available right now if you don't have that yet. I also have a link to my private Facebook Betta Fish group, the Betta Fish Forum. If you haven't joined that yet, I strongly suggest that you do. It is a great place to connect and learn from other Betta Fish parents such as yourself. Alright, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.